Okay, so today I'm going to be walking you through exactly what you are going to do for your research project. So we're going to kind of go back to the narrowing topics activity that we did, and we're going to reference the topics that we chose there. So if you remember back to that, we talked about the victims of the Salem witch trials. So this is just a mock research. This is just what you are doing. You will do this with your own questions. And so I just want you to have an example so that you can reference it if you're at home, or if you are confused about something, you have something to reference. So the very first thing that you're going to do, and remember, you're going to have 4 of these, but I'm just showing you one, is you are going to type your question. So you're going to come here and you're going to type a question. My question that I'm going to use for this mock research is, who was the first victim of the Salem witch trials? Just like this. And one thing that I want you to remember is that this is part of your points. This whole slide is worth 5 points. The first point comes from your question. So, looking at this question, do you think I would give you credit for it? No, because it's missing something. It's missing a question mark. The 3 things that I am looking for the question, or to earn the question point, is that it has a question mark, that it is actually a question, and that it doesn't have any unclear pronouns like it, he, she, they, them, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and add my question mark, and now I know for a fact that I'm going to get my full points on that because I don't have any of those 3 things that Mrs. Wyatt's looking for. So the first thing I need to do, obviously, is try to find the answer. So I'm going to go to Google, or just open up a new tab, and I'm going to try to Google it. So I'm going to type in, who was the first victim of the Salem witch trials, and see what comes up. Oh, perfect, Bridget Bishop. Now, you want to be careful with this, because when you are looking up questions that just straight into Google, typically what it's going to link you to is this right here, Wikipedia. And we're not going to use Wikipedia because Wikipedia is not always the best. Now, there are times where you can use Wikipedia, but we'll talk about those specifically later on. We are not going to do that right now. But because this is actually not from Wikipedia, you can see right here that it says history.com, I'm going to click on this right here. And wait for it to load. So, I am looking for a quote that answers the question fully. In order to answer this question fully, who was the first victim of the Salem witch trials, my quote has to say the person's name, has to say first victim, and it has to say Salem witch trials. If it doesn't say those 3 things, it is not a good quote. So, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to just read through here. And again, I kind of already know the answer, but I would read through all of this, all of this, all of this, until I get to what I'm looking for. Now, you may think to yourself, I don't want to read through all of this, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do Control F, and I'm going to type in first. Oh, okay, that comes up quite a bit. Okay, so let's see. In Salem Village in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Bridget Bishop, the first colonist to be tried in the Salem witch trials, is hanged after being found guilty for the practice of witchcraft. Perfect, that's exactly what I want. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to highlight this quote, copy it, and I am going to paste it right here. Be careful when you are pasting, when you're copy and pasting, because you still have to do things with this quotation. You still have to format and cite it. So don't just think, okay, I'm done, because you're not. Okay? There's going to be 3 things that I am looking for in each quote. Number 1, does it answer the question fully? Number 2, do you have a citation? Number 3, do you have quotation marks? So the first thing I want to do is I want to delete the punctuation mark. I'm going to put quotation marks around it, just like that. And now I need my citation. I'm going to wait on my citation until I have finished my source down here. Okay? So now that I have this quote, I'm ready to give my source so that I can find it, the teacher can find it. So the first thing it says to do is website URL, paste URL here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to back to my picture here, my source here, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to paste it right here. just like that. Now, I don't know about you, but that's kind of ugly. I don't like that it fell onto the other side. So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you this. You don't have to do this. Just going to show it to you. I'm actually going to get rid of this, and I'm going to say URL. I'm going to highlight it, go up here to this little like link or chain, click on that, and then paste it. What that does is it hyperlinks right there, and so when Mrs. Besmer or Mrs. Wyatt is grading your paper, you can automatically click on that. Perfect. The next thing I'm looking for is the website title. This is what I told you a website will always, always, always have. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to ask myself, okay, what is the title of this web page? The title of this web page, if somebody asked me, hey, what is that, would be history.com. A lot of times you can find it right here as the part of the URL. So I'm going to come back over to my mock research, and I'm going to type in history.com, just like that. Then I want to look for the publisher. And when I'm looking for the publisher, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Okay? And what I'm going to look for is, and I'm going to move this over. What I'm going to look for is this right here. I am looking for the copyright. And typically it's going to be this C with a little circle around it, and it's going to say 2020. This right here, A&E Television Networks LLC, is your publisher. So I'm going to go back to my research, and I'm going to type that here. A&E Television Networks LLC. Now, if you are having trouble finding your publisher, it's, like I said, normally at the bottom, but if you are having trouble, please let your teacher know so that we can help you find it, if it's available on the website. Typically it is, but we can help you find it if you absolutely cannot. My last thing that I have to add here is the date accessed. This is the day that I found this quote, found the source. So that is going to be today's date. So I'm going to put October 1st, 2020. Now I'm done, right? No, not quite, because now I need to add my citation, because one of the things that I'm looking for here is a citation. So I'm going to, after my quote here, I'm going to add my parentheses, and then I'm going to add my website title. That's what you use on a website. So I'm going to do history.com in parentheses, and then put a period at the end. That is a perfect answer. This is how you get all of your points. You have quotation marks, you have a quotation that fits the bill, that answers all the parts of the question, and you have your citation. You also have your source card complete. You have your URL, you have the website title, you have the publisher, you have the date accessed. Now, in order to determine that this actually is the correct answer, Bridget Bishop, we need to find this in a different location as well. Because if you find the same answer more than once and in multiple different places, you can probably assume that it's going to be correct. So I'm going to come back over here to my tab, and instead of doing my question again, what I'm going to do is, because I already know the answer, I'm going to type in Bridget Bishop, and I'm going to keep those two words together by using my quotation marks, like from our notes, and I'm going to do and first. And then I'm going to do and, oh, I don't need quotation marks around that, and victim, okay? And I'm going to see what pops up. So Bridget Bishop was the first person next. Oh, perfect, right here. I can just use this. Oh, no, I can't because that's Wikipedia. Okay, gotta keep moving on. All right, so I'm going to move this over. The Witchcraft Trial of Bridget Bishop. Let's see if this one is. Okay, this is a blog, but it's a .org. So I want to click on this because I want to see if this person is reputable, because I want to make sure that she has the authority to tell me information. Okay, Rebecca Beatrice Brooks is the author and publisher of the History of Massachusetts blog. Rebecca is a freelance journalist and history lover who got her start in journalism, working in, She has a University of New Hampshire, BA in journalism. Visit the sites about me to find out more about Rebecca. Okay. Oh, wow, she's got a lot of stuff here. So she mentions in numerous she's been mentioned, you know what, I think this is a pretty good source. I think she's got a pretty good, I think she's pretty knowledgeable. I mean, she's got all these different references. I think that she's probably okay to use. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that main page that I was on first. And I have this question right here. This quote. Bridget Bishop was the first victim to be hanged during the Salem witch trials. Perfect. That answers all parts of my quote. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to come back over here to type here. And I'm going to paste it. Now I need to make sure, does it answer all parts of my question? It answers who, Bridget. It says first victim. Perfect. That follows my question right away. And it says Salem witch trials. Perfect. So I am going to delete the period and add my quotation marks. Just like that. And now I want to fill in my source card down here with this information. So the first thing I'm going to do is do my website URL. And this isn't too long, so I'm just going to copy this and see if I'm okay with it. Oops. Okay, that's fine. It goes down a little bit, but that's okay. Then we have website title. So I want to go back to my website. So I need to find the title of my website. It kind of looks like it would be this right here, but it's not. It's going to be this up here. And again, you can match it with the URL, History of Massachusetts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this website title, History of Massachusetts. I always have a hard time spelling Massachusetts. So we're going to let autocorrect help us there. Blog. Now, again, blogs typically are not something that are going to be super reliable. However, we fact-checked this. We backed up her claims. We saw all the places that she's been published. We can pretty much trust her because we can determine her authority. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to look for my publisher. And remember, your publisher, you go all the way down to the bottom to see if there is a publisher. Keep going, keep going. Okay, so, here is my, my copyright. So here's my publisher, and it's that same person. So, Rebecca Beatrice Brooks. Ooh, she's got a tongue twister name. My publisher is Rebecca Beatrice Brooks. Okay? And then this is super easy. Date access. That's just today's date. October 1st, 2020. Perfect. Am I done? Nope. I got to add my citation. So I'm going to come here after my quotation marks. I'm going to do a parentheses, and I'm going to do my website title. History of Massachusetts blog. End my parentheses, period. This would get you all of your points. You have the question, and it doesn't have unclear pronouns. It doesn't have, it has a question mark, and it doesn't actually, or it is actually a question. For my answer, I've got, it answers the question, it has quotation marks, and it has a citation for both of them. And then for my source cards down here at the bottom, I've got my URL, I've got my website titles, I've got my publishers, and I've got my date accessed. So this would be a perfect answer to your research question. So you are going to be doing this exact thing 4 times with your 4 questions. If you have any questions, let us know, of course, and we will answer those for you. Bye, guys.